Looks like I got another package from Dr. Adcoitus. John Carpenter's remake of The Thing? Awesome! April Fool's Day? That son of a bitch! Hello and welcome to BootsToReBoots. With it being April, I figured it'd be a good time to check out a remake that hardly anyone remembers, and those that do wish they didn't. I'm talking about the 2008 straight-to-DVD remake of the 1986 horror film April Fool's Day.
Warning, there be spoilers.
The original sorta spoofs the slasher films of the 80s. It was produced by Frank Mancuso Jr. and Paramount Pictures. Mancuso produced several Friday the 13th films for Paramount, and the original even stars Amy Steele, who was the survivor girl at the end of Friday the 13th Part 2. Since it was made in the 80s, the cast of characters are pretty fun. They're goofballs looking to enjoy themselves at their friend's island mansion. However, they slowly begin to fall victim to an unseen killer. It's a whodunit film, ironically similar to Paramount's Clue. Except this is the R-rated version.
Clue. It's not just a game anymore.
Who the killer ends up being seems pretty obvious, but the ending offers a little twist.
I love you! I love you too, babe.
Overall, the original doesn't offer much in terms of clever death scenes or scares, but it has a great setting, likable characters, and a plot that keeps you guessing. So let's move on to the remake. The 2008 version is also produced by Frank Mancuso Jr. and was directed by a duo who call themselves the Butcher Brothers.
Quite fitting since they butchered this fucking movie.
It was originally going to be a more faithful remake, but the filmmakers decided to modernize it to the point where it barely resembles the original. You have some rich kids, a big house, a guy with a camera, a twist ending, and that's about it. The biggest mistake is the characters. I love 80s horror movies because the characters are fun.
Hold me, big fella. Hold!
Just holster it, cowboy, will you? Let's fly hide the sausage.
Modern horror movies hardly treat us to likable characters anymore. Instead, we get preppy, douchey assholes who we actually root for to get killed.
But I don't want anyone to die.
Instead of Muffy St. John, we have Desiree Cartier and her brother Blaine, who controls the inherited Cartier estate. Desiree is hosting a party for her actress friend Torrance, played by Scout Taylor Compton from Rob Zombie's Halloween films. Also at the party is Peter Welling, a complete idiot running for Senate.
The campaign's like a well-oiled machine. Campaign machine. Politics.
I think it's time to go.
Welling's pageant queen fiancée, Barbie, their videographer friend Ryan, and the Chihuahua-loving celebrity gossip reporter, Charles.
Why does he have his finger in that doggy's butt?
Soon, Desiree's rival and Ryan's crush, Milan Hastings, arrives. So far, this scene is giving me flashbacks to Not Another Teen Movie.
Oopsie! Look at that! Oh my god! Oh.
Out of all of them, I guess Milan is the likable one because she does charity work, but she still seems full of herself.
So, are you still working with those retarded...
Developmentally disabled children? Yes. They're so adorable. You know, helping others is incredibly rewarding.
Well, Desiree convinces her brother to seduce Milan and they sneak off to his bedroom. Desiree then uses Ryan's camera to record the two of them fooling around.
La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
However, something doesn't seem right. Milan appears to be drugged, has some type of seizure, and falls to her death. Turns out she was roofied and had an allergic reaction. In court, no one goes to jail, but Blaine loses control of the estate to his sister. 1 year later is when the real story begins. Our main characters all get invitations to meet at Milan's grave. It appears that this mystery person knows what they did last April Fool's Day. With the gang reunited, they get a package from Milan containing a video of Charles trying really hard to act like he's drowning. They rush to Charles' home only to find the Grey Hulk, exhausted from a long night of male stripping.
Hey, if that ends up on the interweb, I will have you raped by a wizard.
Glass of champagne.
Yeah, and that is a promise, not a threat.
The rest of the movie consists of Desiree suspecting one person after the other, only for them to end up dead and their bodies vanishing. Barbie is electrocuted to death. Ryan gets his throat slit. Peter is run over in a hilariously awkward scene. So the Cartier siblings end up back home, Blaine gets tied up, and the killer reveals their identity. Turns out Torrance was the one behind it all, which should be a surprise to nobody. She hardly spends any time with the other characters, mostly spending time on her movie set, points a lot of fingers at everyone else. The van that ran over Peter drives into the set of her movie, and Desiree finds Torrance wearing a blonde wig similar to the one the person driving the van was wearing moments ago.
Would you just take a hint?
Torrance reveals she did it because Desiree and Blaine's little prank ruined her debut party. She then shoots Blaine, who should win an Oscar for his performance. After her brother's death, Desiree admits that she gave Milan the roofie that killed her.
Wait, I killed Milan! I did it! I did it!
She did it to gain control of the inheritance and to use Blaine as the fall guy. Desiree then perfectly sums up why I don't give a crap about any of these characters.
Charles, the social climbing fag who built a small empire by exploiting Milan's death? Or how about Peter, the so-called politician who didn't have enough smarts to keep his dick in his pants? Or maybe Barbie, who'd rather send death threats to Milan than take up marital issues with her husband. Let's not forget about that obsessive creep, Ryan, who'd rather see Milan in a box than with anybody else. And Blaine? Blaine didn't care about anybody!
After her confession is when we get the big reveal. Blaine begins to chuckle, and our victims return from the dead. Turns out the whole thing was a prank to get a confession out of Desiree.
Wilford, why?
Because you were always such an insufferable bitch.
Torrance used her special effects crew to fake the murders. Torrance fires the gun one more time to prove it's all fake and blows Desiree's head off.
Oh my.
So our characters end up back in court. Torrance doesn't get blamed for Desiree's death, and Blaine gets the family trust back. In the final shot of the movie, Blaine cracks a smile like everything went off perfectly as planned. Here's why this movie doesn't work. First off, you can hardly call it a remake to the original film. In the original, our main characters find their dead friends alive and well. Turns out Muffy St. John was experimenting with an idea to use her island mansion for whodunit getaway weekends, and they were the test subjects. This trick ending could upset some horror fans, but I found it a little refreshing. It's not the same slasher formula we've seen over and over and over again during the 80s. Besides for the title and one or two pranks in the beginning, The April Fool's Day theme has little to do with this version. The original movie featured tons of pranks. Meanwhile, this version is more about death and who gets control of the family's money.
Wait, I get it. We thought we put a real movie in the DVD player and instead we got fooled.
They tricked us. Those bastards.
Again, my main complaint is the characters. They modernized the film but with negative stereotypes. You have the trust fund brats, the TMZ guy, the stupid politician and his plastic fiancé.
See shit. I'm gonna go out there looking like Amy Winehouse.
Dead?
There's no one to root for. What's worse is that in the end, none of the characters are punished. They survive, and the dickhead brother gets the fortune that was his in the beginning of the movie. Like, I really give a shit that he gets the money. None of the characters grow or change in any way. You can tell they're just going to keep on being awful people. Lastly, because this remake went straight to DVD, the quality is what you'd expect. Not only does the cinematography match a soap opera, but the music does as well. A lot of sequences are ruined with this cheesy score. The film looks cheap and sounds cheap. It's not scary and takes itself too seriously while the original was fun. The characters are dreadful and the acting is bad.
Okay, so for this shot I need you to move your eyes around. Yep, that's it. No, faster. Faster! Move them around more. You don't know where to look. Do I look over here? Do I look over there? Do I look over here? Do I look over there?
While the ending plays with your expectations and showed some promise, it can't save the previous 90 minutes of this movie. This remake comes during a point when studios were really scraping the bottom of the Walmart $5 DVD bin for movies to rehash. Therefore, this remake of April Fool's Day is getting the boot. This might be one of the biggest pranks Hollywood has ever pulled on its audience. This has been BootsToReBoots. Thanks for... Wait a minute. That was my copy of John Carpenter's The Thing!
April Fools, motherfucker!
Can she not hear me? I said move your goddamn eyes!